Coming up on today's edition of the Rockbridge Report, just a few states away in Tennessee and Alabama, devastating wildfires and tornadoes have destroyed homes and taken lives. We'll show you how those states are faring in the aftermath of extreme weather.
Lexington residents, be sure to get outside today because the rain has finally cleared, although temperatures are soon to drop and we may even get some snow next week. More on the weather coming to you soon.
And don't miss our look into big changes coming to the Chessie Trail and the big fight over the leadership of House Mountain.
And later, our own Parker Butler reveals possible plans for even more renovations at the newly opened Waddell Elementary. All that and more up next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Samuel Mao.
And I'm Polly Noskova. The first candidate-driven presidential recount in more than 15 years began today in Wisconsin, a state that Donald Trump won by less than 1 percentage point over Hillary Clinton. Last week, former Green Party candidate Jill Stein requested a recount in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. She suggested irregular voting patterns in these 3 states indicate the vote could have been tampered with. Wisconsin County election officials are expected to re-tab nearly 3 million ballots. Meanwhile, President-elect Donald Trump took a victory lap today, stopping first in Indiana, where he saluted workers at a factory he made a campaign promise to save. The heating and air conditioning company, Carrier, said in February it would shut down the Indianapolis plant and ship jobs to Mexico. But Trump said this week that Carrier has agreed to keep some 800 union jobs at the plant. Trump will make a stop in Ohio next to kick off his thank you tour to honor the supporters that swept him into his stunning victory.
Residents all across the southeast woke up to severe damage this morning. At least 5 people are dead after deadly tornadoes swept through parts of Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. Reporter Yasmin Amir tells us more.
Devastating scenes across the southeast after a round of deadly storms. At least 3 tornadoes ripped through northern Alabama. According to the National Weather Service, Jackson County saw some of the worst damage. Strong winds knocked down trees and power lines and turned some buildings into ruins. One resident says a large tree collapsed on his house. But given the sheer destruction around him, he says it could have been a lot worse.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I still got a roof over my head.
In Georgia, 3 suspected tornadoes touched down in the metro Atlanta area. No one was injured, but residents describe a terrifying afternoon.
It was so much wind, everything was just flying everywhere. It was bad.
Really dark up there, right here in front of us.
It was like the wind was just dark. Like...
Everything was just flying
and the
everywhere.
whole door just shook.
2 people were killed in Tennessee, where weather officials say a tornado touched down in Polk County. That state is already reeling from deadly wildfires that have killed 7 people so far. Wednesday's rain provided some relief, but it's not nearly enough to quell the region's worst drought in nearly a decade. I'm Yasmin Amir reporting.
Around 14,000 residents and tourists were evacuated from Gatlinburg, Tennessee this week because of the raging wildfire. The city has been closed since Monday night. But Gatlinburg Mayor Mike Werner said he hopes to reopen the resort city as early as Friday, after nearly 24 hours of drenching rain helped quench the devastating fires. Rockbridge County has seen a great deal of rain this week too. In our next segment, Bryn McCarthy tells us what to expect for the upcoming weekend.
A veteran police officer was shot and killed in Tacoma, Washington late last night while responding to a domestic violence call. The officer was taken to a hospital for surgery where he later died, but he has not been publicly identified yet. Authorities shot and killed the suspected gunman after an hours-long standoff early this morning. The suspect was using 2 children inside the home as a shield, but a Pierce County Sheriff's deputy was able to get a safe shot at the suspect without harming the children. Police say they found multiple weapons inside the suspect's home. A pay increase for deputies at the Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office takes effect today. However, the Virginia Sheriff's Association is concerned that pay for law enforcement officers remains uncompetitive across the state. The organization has asked legislators to address the issue when the General Assembly convenes next month in Richmond. Deputies in Virginia currently have a starting salary of just over $31,000, but some counties, including Rockbridge, can afford to supplement that pay with additional funding. Cool Springs Organic Market will be closing by the end of December after 15 years in Lexington.
Owner Selena Anderson posted on Facebook in November that she feels it is time to move on from the store. For its last few weeks, customers can enjoy 10% off all purchases at Cool Springs. There are no confirmed plans for what will be filling the store's space.
The Virginia Horse Center is celebrating its 30th anniversary in Rockbridge County this year. Reporter Ellen Kanziger shows us how the directors hope that planned renovations will attract more events and visitors to the area.
The Virginia Horse Center looks to return to its former glory after years of mounting debt and declining facilities. The 600 acres hold a variety of arenas and trails for various competitions. The center typically hosts around 100 events a year and attracts thousands of visitors. Around half of those visitors are from outside of Virginia.
At the end of the day, the Horse Center brings a lot of people into the community who spend their money here, which I think is important for all of us. So I think our continued viability is important for the continued economic development of Rockbridge County and vice versa.
A new management team took over in 2014 and immediately began working on ways to make the facilities more attractive to the equestrian community. This included taking out several loans to update the facilities after the state pulled its funding.
State funding supported the debt service that was associated with actually creating the Horse Center, the facilities, the land, and so forth. And there was a decision made somewhere around 2007 where that funding was pulled back.
The Horse Center's loan through the New River Bank is due a little over a year from now. The center plans to refinance that loan through the United States Department of Agriculture. The USDA program would pay off the $769,380 loan to New River Bank and begin paying for operation costs. Both Lexington and Rockbridge County also approved a 5-year extension on the 1% lodging tax. This revenue will continue to go towards capital maintenance projects and facility upkeep. Part of the proposed plan includes setting aside land to be used for community athletic fields.
High school has a real need when it comes to spring season with your JV, varsity soccer, boys and girls, your lacrosse. They don't have enough field space to even practice.
Although directors are pleased with show bookings so far, they look forward to competing with other horse centers around the country as a premier equestrian facility. From the Virginia Horse Center, I'm Ellen Kanziger with the Rockbridge Report.
Horse Center will have to wait to move forward with the plans until the loan goes through refinancing with the USDA. Until then, the land for the fields is tied up as collateral on the loan.
Lexington's luxury boutique inn, the Georges, joined Historic Hotels of America's collection of hotels and resorts Tuesday. The collection of 295 hotels recognizes distinctive properties across the country for their dedication to preserving history, architecture, and ambiance. The Georges, which includes 2 buildings on either side of North Main Street, opened in 2014 after extensive renovations. The properties are owned by Ann Parker Gottwald of Richmond.
Coming up after the break, we'll show you what VMI is doing to improve the historic Chessie Trail, and a look at how fans and families are celebrating the lives lost in a plane crash in Columbia just 2 days ago.
And later, Waddell Elementary is finally open to students, but parents think there is still more work to be done.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
He doesn't even know that we're here.
Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay.
Laura.
Okay, try to call him again.
There's no signal.
Try.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
Everything's down.
This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
Brazil's Chapecoense underdog soccer team was due to play in its biggest match ever on Wednesday night in Medellin, Colombia. Instead, last night, thousands of heartbroken fans gathered to mourn the 71 players, coaches, and staff killed in Tuesday's plane crash. Reports show that the plane carrying the soccer team ran out of fuel before crashing into a mountainside just a few miles from the Medellin International Airport. Surviving teammates and family members of those killed joined fans in packed stadiums in Colombia and Brazil. They honored the lost lives with a mass on the field and a flyover with the Black Hawk helicopters that helped in the rescue operations.
Kendall at Lexington will have to wait a little while longer before their expansion plans can move forward. Rockbridge County Board of Supervisors approved zoning changes and a permit on Monday. But because the facility's 84 acres are divided between the city and the county, Kendall still needs City Council's seal of approval. City Council was going to meet tonight to decide on the plan's fate, but Council agreed with Kendall's suggestion to wait until possibly January to make their official decision. The new council members will take office on January 1st. Well, we've had an unusually warm week here so far. Will we need to bring out those winter jackets again soon, Bren?
We will in fact need to bring out those winter jackets. As we can see from our live feed of Woods Creek, the leaves have fallen and winter is coming. Look how beautiful it is. Winter is really coming. Early next week we may even get some snow. But as we can see from today's forecast, we have a high of 51 degrees and a low of 31 degrees. Today's barometer reads 29 with wind speeds of just 5 miles per hour and a humidity of 48%. As we can see from our regional map, temperatures throughout Virginia are in the 50s with clear skies and sunshine as well as clouds. Nearby in Buena Vista, there's a high of 50 degrees. Moving to our satellite radar composite, the tornadoes have certainly caused some cloud cover and rain on the East Coast, but today's forecast in Lexington is clear. Moving on to our 5-day forecast, temperatures are certainly dropping. Friday and Saturday's temperatures will drop to 28 and 27 degrees, but what's really exciting is on Tuesday we may even get some snow. There should be a mixture of snow and rain, but precipitation should be a 50% chance and temperatures should stay in the 40s throughout the day and drop down to 34 at night. Back to you guys.
The legal battle for control of House Mountain took a big step yesterday. Judge David Carson denied motions for summary judgment and ruled to put the case before a Rockbridge County jury. Judge Carson determined that the management contract between the Virginia Outdoors Foundation and the Rockbridge County Area Conservation Council could be interpreted in different ways, preventing him from deciding on Rockbridge County's historic landmark. The RACC accused the VOF of illegally withdrawing from the 1989 contract 3 years ago, while the VOF argues it provided notice of its plans within a 60-day period, as the contract requires. A trial date has not yet been set.
Chessie Trail caretakers hope to make the local icon a safer and smoother outdoor experience in the coming years. Reporter Mariah Ratio explains how.
Virginia Military Institute owns the historic Chessie Trail, a roughly 7-mile path that stretches from Lexington to Buena Vista. In 2003, Hurricane Isabel washed out the South River Bridge, which served as a connector for the trail around its halfway mark. VMI's chairman of the Chessie Trail Advisory Committee, Jay Williams, said the resulting detour jeopardizes the safety of walkers, runners, and cyclists.
At that point where the washout is, people have to leave the trail, go out onto a main thoroughfare where vehicular traffic is present, and then cut back onto the trail a little bit further down. So it's a safety hazard for folks using it.
That's why Williams recently led an effort to apply for a grant through the Eastern Federal Land Access Program to get a bridge redevelopment project going.
The grant is for the planning and design only. We felt it was very important to get firm numbers, an understanding of numbers and scope of work before we pursued the actual construction.
Jean Clark, the director of tourism for Lexington and Rockbridge, said that she and other trail advocates are thinking ahead to how they might get funding for the construction of the bridge itself.
But we won't even find out about whether the grant is awarded until late spring or early summer. In the meantime, we'll be looking for additional grant funding or money at some place for building the bridge.
VMI also has plans to improve parking areas and install more informative signs along the trail. But for now, seeing funding for a new South River Bridge through to completion is the primary goal.
Once this bridge is put in place, and that's our vision and that's our hope, nobody will have to get off the trail from the time they leave Lexington to the time they arrive in Buena Vista.
Chesapeake Trail advocates hope these changes will help Rockbridge residents and those just passing through take greater advantage of this local treasure. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mariah Rochelle.
If VMI receives the grant to fund the bridge's design, organizers say they hope to apply for funding for bridge construction by November of 2017. Up next on the Rockbridge Report, a look into how Lexington plans to deal with 3 January parades, all scheduled for the same weekend.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. 10, I'm sorry.
9, I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please. Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out
for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Residents in the Buena Vista neighborhood known as Racy Acres are worried that a parking problem could prevent emergency services and fire trucks from accessing the community's narrow streets. Neighbors have taken their concern to City Hall, and the town's safety manager has responded by adding compacted dirt paving to slightly widen the street. A fire department spokesman said it has never had an issue getting to homes in the area. But residents say this parking issue is worse than any other the community has had before.
Lexington City Council is expected to act tonight on a request by the Sons of Confederate Veterans to hold a parade in downtown Lexington on Sunday, January 15th. The request is one of 3 or 4 parades that could take place during the January week that includes both Lee Jackson Day and Martin Luther King Jr. Day. In October, the city approved a parade request for Saturday morning, January 14th, by the Community Anti-Racism Education Initiative of Rockbridge. Organizers say the event is intended to be a celebration of the community diversity. The CARE request prompted a pro-Confederate flag group known as Virginia Flaggers to submit a parade request for Martin Luther King Jr. Day on January 16th. The Flaggers withdrew that request 2 weeks ago, but said they would now like to parade on the afternoon of January 14th. Keenan joins us now with the latest in sports. Keenan?
Thanks a lot, Sam.
In news that'll get NASCAR fans' engines revving, four-time champion Jeff Gordon will emerge from retirement to drive in the Rolex 24 at Daytona for the first time in a decade. Gordon has been practicing with the team over the past couple weeks and says he's looking forward to competing in this prestigious event. LeBron James was chosen Sports Illustrated's 2016 Sports Person of the Year this year. James led the Cavs to an NBA title and ended the team's 52-year drought. James is the second person to ever win this award twice. He earned the title for the first time in 2012. In college athletics, W&L's men's basketball suffered a close ODAC loss against the Hampton-Sydney Tigers last night. Jennies were tied or in the lead for the entire game up until the last 26 seconds. The team hosts Methodist at 2 p.m. this Saturday. The Lady Generals also took a hit when they lost to Randolph-Macon on Tuesday night. The Yellow Jackets paved their way to victory by scoring 30 points in the fourth period. The Jennies will play Messiah at home this Saturday at noon. But it wasn't all bad for the Jennies this week, as both men and women's swimming finished second in their respective invitationals, and they'll each dive back in the pool tomorrow at the Randolph-Macon Invitational. Keaton Gomez, a freshman wrestler at SVU, just set a new single-season pin record for SVU's wrestling program. Gomez has more pins than all but one wrestler in the country. And in more Lexington news, VMI's new indoor training facility now hosts the school's track and field practices on a regular basis. Their coaches have also moved their offices into the building. There are updated photos on the Keydets website of the new facility. Moving on to high school sports, Perry McClure football made it all the way to the regional finals this year, which took place the day after Thanksgiving. The Fighting Blues fell to Wythe 14-35. They were just one game away from the state Final Four. That wraps up today's sports update. Back to you, Polly and Sam.
Thanks, Keenan. It has been nearly 2 months since Waddell Elementary reopened, but the new school still lacks a key element for its 340 students, a playground. The Waddell PTA is trying to fix that with plans for a walking trail, picnic pavilion, and a play structure designed for students' developmental needs. The project could cost up to $120,000, which the PTA hopes to pay for through grants, private donors, and help from the city. The PTA presented its plans to the Lexington City School Board last month and will address the City Council soon. Until then, Waddell students currently spend their recess time at Woods Creek Park, located next to the school. Buena Vista will kick off the Christmas season tonight at 7 p.m. as its annual Christmas parade marches down Magnolia Avenue. And don't miss Lexington's Christmas parade featuring floats, fire trucks, singers, and dancers. The festivities begin tomorrow at 6 p.m. on Main Street. That's all for today's Rockbridge Report, but stay with us. Coming up after the break, our very own Matt Kaminer interviews Rockbridge County Lieutenant Tim Hickman.
And after that, reporter Parker Butler sits down with Rockbridge County's Assistant Superintendent, Philip Thompson.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us again next Thursday for our last newscast of the year. And be sure to check out our website at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.